What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Bill, and in today's video we are going over some stuff with the Bronco once again. But, you see, we got a couple of sponsors on there now, and that is because we are going to SEMA this year. I need to have this vehicle completed and in Vegas by October 30th. So we're going to have a whole lot of work to do. Right now I'm just starting underneath. So we have some train horns, small air tank, compressor, a whole bunch of Hornblaster stuff to try to fit under there. And I've been looking and searching and trying to figure out how to get it up there. I think I've come up with a solution. It may not be a perfect one, but I think we're going to have to remove the bumper. I think we're going to have to remove the muffler. If we remove the muffler, we got a whole lot more room right there in the back that we can get the train horn up and out of the way, so it's not at risk of scraping anything. And I think that's going to be our spot that we have to go. So that means no more muffler. I'm not sure how this thing is going to sound without a muffler, so before we take it off, I'm going to go ahead and set you down. I'm going to get a couple of sound clips, get a little listen of what it sounds like starting up with the muffler. Now, if you haven't seen before, but this is your first video of ours, this is the 2.7 liter. It is the 6-cylinder EcoBoost. Yeah, it sounds pretty mild. It's a 6-cylinder EcoBoost. That's what they sound like. Nothing too special about them. You know, they're not known for their sound. That's for sure. A hanger over here, a hanger there, a clamp, and ideally that would just plop out of here. So we'll see. All right. So yeah, that came off pretty easy. It's just the two hangers and then a 15mm bolt on the clamp there. I just use some channel locks to push these out of the hangers, and 15mm socket, and it got off. And like you said, we got a lot of horn to put in there, but this is a pretty big muffler, and that's about the same amount of real estate. So we just gave ourselves a whole lot of room under there. But now we got to see if I'm actually going to be able to drive around without this on. So let's set you back down here and start it up and see what it sounds like. I haven't started it yet, so I'm curious myself. Actually, that doesn't sound as bad as I thought it was going to. Having the exhaust exit right here under the back of the cab's probably not perfect, so need to come up with something to route that back, exit out somehow. Alright, so it's been a while since I started making this video. Went ahead, we did get the rock lights installed. I made a whole different video about that, so I'll get that uploaded here probably shortly after this one goes up. But yes, made some progress. I didn't get a lot of this recorded is because I came out here and started trying to find where I was going to put the compressor and the air tank and everything, and before I knew it, I kind of just had things in place. So I got this bottom piece, got that out of the back here, got the hump. I was curious what was underneath that hump that's here in the back, and it is actually raised a bit, the metal, and then the bolts that's for the back seats are being hidden underneath that, so that's what's there in that hump. And then this is the, well, under the little storage compartment, so it's a little plastic piece that's held in with 4 10mm bolts. But as you see, I made some cuts in there because these 2 bolts here are going through and holding the tank. On this side of the tank, I got a self-tapping screw coming up, and then I wasn't able to get a drill or anything from the bottom side up through here, so I actually cut a hole through the top, and then I'll show you, I just put like a quick nut around the hole and then bolted it down from the top. And then the compressor, just drilled 4 holes, went through there. I gotta change the hardware out on these 2. I just put these in real quick to hold them in place while I got these in there correctly. And then changing out the hardware and putting actual lock washers and nuts and everything on there, but those are just easy to get in there quickly, just to hold everything in place, because it was kind of difficult to hold that up in place, get the screws started, get the washers on there and everything. So it's easier just to do a long bolt and then thread a nut on there real quick to kind of hold it into position. So having this, being able to take this out though, has been a huge help. And no, unfortunately that's not how lifted the thing is yet. I'm still waiting on the new lift kit. It's not going to be that much. I just have it on jack stands. So putting it on jack stands allowed me to get some more room in here so I could crawl under. I could actually sit under, and then it dropped the axle down so I could work under here. But here, like I said, we have the compressor. It runs over. I still gotta put some Teflon tape on there, and goes to the tank. Then our tank is going to come back here, and I'm going to work out a mount for back here to put the actual horns. So yeah, I still gotta wire everything. You'd be surprised how hard it was to do these 8 bolts. Like I said, this is in there, and it's not going anywhere. This is good. The only concern I have with this compressor is these brake lines, because there's the bolt I need. But because this gets hot, this compressor will get hot, and you know, under normal load there should be a good distance from this, and it's even already got some little extra protection right there that looks like it's going to hit right there. But I'm still probably going to want to do something just in case. I mean, under normal conditions this should never get that close to there. We'll see what it looks like once I put everything down too, to make sure. But that's the only thing that makes me nervous, is the potential that these brake lines could hit the that when it's hot and possibly melt it. Now I know that's an extreme circumstance, it probably won't happen, but there's potential there, so I want to protect against that, because that would suck to lose your brakes. And we need to wire this to, we need two things. We need fuse 12 volt to the battery, which will run, and then we need ignition switched 12 volt, which I think I'm just going to go to that 12 volt power up there. That does actually stay on when you turn the key off, but it's timed. And I think it's like an hour or two that it will stay on afterwards. So it won't stay on forever. And I think in Forescan might even be able to change how long that stays on. But I think that's going to be the easiest, best way is just to tap into that. It might not shut it off directly when they turn the key off. But the only time that should kick on is if the tank runs low, and it would kick on the compressor. So obviously you don't want that to happen all the time, or especially if you end up with a small air leak or anything like that. You know, you come out and compressor's been running all night and killed your battery. But you know, if it runs, yeah, if that switch stays on for, you know, an hour after you've shut the car off, you'd have to have a pretty bad leak in your tank for the compressor to have killed your battery within, you know, within an hour, if it had to run that many times to keep this tank filled. And I think you would hear air leaking out by that point and realize that you got a bigger issue anyway. There's no mounting systems or no kits built for this yet, so I'm just kind of trying to find a way to fit all this stuff in there. I think where we have them, it's going to be good. Get this panel pulled back, and this 12 volt connector, there's a white and a black wire there. The white is the power. So powering on. Now I do have the ignition off. When I first tested this, neither wire was hot. Then I did turn the ignition on, or the accessory on, and the white one came on. I turned it off and it's still on. Like I said, I think Forescan, because I've seen people that are wanting to keep this always on instead of turning off after X amount of time. I want to do the opposite. I want it to turn off when the key turns off. So I'll get into Forescan and see if I can't adjust that to where it just turns off when the power turns off. But for now, it'll definitely do the job. I'm going to tap into that, and I'll just run the wire down, and then probably just through one of these grommets right here underneath. I'm just using the wire that Hornblasters provided. Run that down, and we'll get that connected. And the supplied power wire I got running down through here. I'm just going to run along the frame, between the frame and the body, as high up as possible and out of the way. Alright, so I finally got everything tightened up. I got the top bolts done. I sprayed some primer on the bare metal that I created when I cut that little access hole. I got this panel back on, and I just ran that power wire from the 12 volt down through here. So now we're ready to start putting the insides back together. I'm going to put the hump in, and it just inserts a couple of hooks. Battery died on me. I was saying, this just snaps into place. Not too much, not too difficult there. Now the rest of the flooring, that just snaps into place, or rests. It doesn't even snap, it just rests. And then we have the tie downs, which go back into place. You got little, it just sits right on top of plastic here, and then it's got little hold downs that go over the plastic there. And then the two 10mm, pretty sure it's 10mm. We'll find out in just a second. 2mm, 10, 10, 10, 10. Boom, there's a 10. Yes, two 10mm. And do that on all four. Okay, one thing you might have noticed I forgot to do. So we open this, we still got a big hole there. Now I'm not sure, maybe we can get that in there, in and out, without having taken this back up now that I've gotten all the bolts tightened down. Alright, so you gotta put this tub in first. I had to take these out so I could lift this up in order to get, so I could lift the flooring up a bit to get this tub in there. It's not going to fit in or out while the floor is down, so while I got it loose, I'm going to go ahead and put this in. Just 4 10mm bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it to secure that in. So I'll do that, get the floor put back in, and we should be good to go. Now that we got everything tightened down, these little lassos just kind of clip in there, snap in. Everything is back together on the inside. We have our compressor and our air tank mounted. We got the wires run. They still need to be cleaned up a bit. We got the air hose. Now, just got to put this area back together and install the horns themselves. Get the airline hooked, and we should be done. There's this heat shield that's underneath here, but it's just like a thin aluminum, and it's not very sturdy. What I did is I cut a piece of metal to go underneath there, so it's attached here where the heat shield normally is attached. Then it drilled through there, and it's going through the plastic tub in there. And then I have the piece of metal bent down, and I have some screws that are going to go in here. But like everything's just kind of in position because this is too thin of a metal, and it still flexes. But I just wanted to make sure it would work and everything would line up, which it didn't. I drilled my holes a little too high for this bolts going through here into the frame. So I do need to take this back down and redo it again with a thicker metal that I have on order. But this will hold for now. I mean, it's a little shaky, but it's not going anywhere. It's yeah, it's definitely not going anywhere. But we got the tank, and I also damaged the drain valve on that, so I need a new drain valve, and I need some thicker metal, and then we'll actually get this completely wrapped up. But this gray wire here, which is running, this is just running up to the orange and yellow upfitter wire under the hood, which is connected to switch number 5. And then this one right here, I just have it running to a ground. I gotta find a better ground. This is pretty much the final location of everything. The main power wire is just going to it's a fused wire going straight to the battery. For the actual horn switch, it's just going to this yellow and orange. I can't keep it running right now.
Okay, I was wondering who you're talking to.
I'm talking to myself. I can't keep it running. The compressor will just keep running and running since it's not going to build up full, full pressure since the valve won't close. So that being said, we could still take it for a test run. Safe to say that works. So yeah, I gotta clean up the wiring a bit, get the new drain valve, and get some thicker metal to get this wrapped up. And this is the bracket I'm making here. There's the 3 holes that are going to be the mount for the horn itself. This here is the 10mm bolt that's already on there for holding up the heat shield. I drilled another. I'm going to put a rivet nut in there and put another bolt here. Keep it from flexing a little bit, because this side the metal does drop off and bend, so it could possibly flex that way. So I'm just going to put another bolt here. Then I got this bolt, and it's just going through the plastic tub. It's under there, and then I'm going to have 2 bolts here going into the frame, so that's going to keep this from flexing as well. And that'll be underneath the heat shield, so you won't even see this other than this piece that's hanging down. Everything else will be up underneath behind the heat shield, so it'll look like the horn's just kind of hooked up to the heat shield itself, but it does have reinforcement behind there. The heat shield's not enough to hold the horn. The 3 horns back here, we've got the tank, and we've got the compressor over there. The one thing we don't have is an exhaust. So that's the next thing I'm going to work on, is routing that. I'm going to route that probably out and back over here, but I think I might have mentioned it already. I'm waiting on the new bumper. So once that new bumper gets here, I'll know exactly where the best place to route that exhaust is. But right now, exiting right underneath the cargo area isn't the best place. There you go. If you're wondering if you can get a train horn onto your 2021 Bronco, there's no kit for it, but you can make it work with the Outlaw set. There's a couple other sets that might even be easier to work with. I figured, looking at the dimensions and sounds and everything, this was the kit that I wanted to try to fit in there, and we made it work. We did have to lose the muffler in the process, so if that's something you're concerned about, then this might not be the kit that you're looking for. But if you don't mind that, then there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.